one of the things that the Democrats are trying to do here, and it really is pretty gross, is they're trying to mix two messages. Message number one is that Trump is bad at this and incompetent. And message number two is that we need a permanent reshaping of the relationship between government and the American people. So that's hard to do while Trump is president, because on the one hand, you're saying he's incompetent, and on the other hand, you're saying he should take ultimate power over everybody's destiny. And that's a really hard message. So instead, what they have said is he's incompetent. If he were competent, things would be great, which is why when you give us power, we're going to take over everything, and then we'll be competent, and then everything will be great. Now, as I've pointed out, everybody was getting this wrong for like weeks on end, right? Like everybody was getting this wrong for a very long time. And then in early March, when the testing started to ramp up and it started to become clear what exactly was happening, then everybody started to take this a lot more seriously. So when it comes to competence, everybody, right, left, center, is fairly equally incompetent, right? Everybody gets things wrong. But Democrats want to make the case that government is uniquely good at things. It's just that Trump is uniquely bad at things. Because if they say that government is uniquely good at things, then people go, wait, but aren't you also saying that the government is sucking this up, like being terrible? And the Democrats' answer is, no. If it weren't for Trump, government would be doing an excellent job. And that's why you're seeing them point to Cuomo, because Cuomo keeps saying, yeah, sure, like New York is a hot spot and a hotbed, and de Blasio blew it in the city, and my policies may not have been all that great, but Trump is an all-purpose defense for the fact that government generally, right, left, and center, is not very good at things. Right? So they've been pushing this dual message, which is Trump is incompetent, and also we need to radically reshift how things are done in the United States. So Rahm Emanuel, the former Obama chief of staff, former mayor of Chicago, right, he says that this really is just a matter, Biden versus Trump is really just competence versus incompetence.
And in many ways, while you can have a lot of different policies, it's going to be the qualities of the individual come forward. And I think in the contrast here, and this is not just because I'm a Democrat, you have competence versus incompetence. You have trustworthiness versus actually constantly spin. And you have actually the most important quality, which is the ability of a president to be empathetic to the people that they lead, versus, I think, something coming out of the White House of constant indifference and constant conflict and fighting.
Okay, so again, it's competence versus incompetence. There's only one problem. The Democrats have been incompetent on this all the way through, too. Again, de Blasio was mayor of New York. The mayor of New Orleans was telling people to go out and celebrate Mardi Gras. Nancy Pelosi, in late February, was telling people they ought to go down to Chinatown and hang out. Like, the incompetence runs across the aisle. And if you want to say that Joe Biden is supremely competent, again, I'm not seeing the evidence on this. Right? Like, over the weekend, Joe Biden was criticizing Donald Trump for being too slow on the China travel ban. In January, he was ripping him as a xenophobe for it. Right? In January, Joe Biden was saying that Trump never should have had any sort of travel ban from China. For weeks, he has been, as Guy Benson says at Town Hall, reactive, repeatedly, almost comically recommending courses of action the Trump administration had already pursued or implemented. Well, on Friday, the former VP he actually turned and supported Trump's January 31st decision to ban foreign nationals. Suddenly, Kate Bedingfield, Biden's deputy campaign manager, said, science supported this ban, therefore, Biden did too. Joe Biden supports travel bans that are guided by medical experts, advocated by public health officials, backed by a full strategy. He opposed the European travel ban. He opposed the China travel ban. And now he's trying to shift it and say, oh, well, I was just upset that Trump didn't do it sooner. What the living hell? Here's Joe Biden being incompetent and proving the point. Everybody's incompetent.
You have to move swiftly, and we have to move more rapidly. You got to go faster than slower, and we started off awfully slow. 45 nations had already moved to keep block China's personnel from being able to come to the United States before the president moved. So it's about pace. It's about the urgency, and I don't think there's been enough of it.
Switched it, right? He's switching it. He opposed it, and now it's like, oh, he didn't do it sooner. Right, because if Trump had said he wanted to ban travel from China like early January, I'm sure Biden would have been all over that. Okay, bottom line is incompetence is bipartisan.